Welcome to the Seat 14 podcast, a different perspective on college basketball told by those who lived it. Join us as we bring you insider views, analysis, breakdowns, and predictions from one of the most storied programs in the country, from someone who saw it all from the end of the bench, the 14th seat. In association with the Field of 68 and alongside producer Jordan Barber, I'm your host, Todd Lanter, and this is Seat 14. Welcome into episode 6 of the Seat 14 podcast. Today is Thursday, December 16th. We got a good guest lineup coming at us today.
We're also in your living room, in case anyone was wondering.
That's true. Can I do the intro?
This is just my own thing now. I like to interrupt you when you try to do the intro.
Okay, well, here, read this for me.
I like to see you act like a goofball.
Bullet points 1 and 2.
Presented by the Field of 68 and powered by Bet Rivers Sportsbook and Budweiser King of Beers. Today is Thursday, December 16th.
There you go.
And I'm Jordan. That's Todd. Take your phone back.
Thank you.
I'm not doing this bit anymore.
All right. So we're coming off of a not so good loss in South Bend that we're going to get into. We're going to cover the details of that one.
Bad loss.
Not a good loss.
Bad loss.
Yeah, not a good loss.
I've been the biggest proponent of good losses in the history of good losses.
Bad loss.
That was a
bad loss. We'll dive into the details of that.
Yeah.
We got the first doubleheader guest lineup in the history of Seat 14.
We'll see how it goes.
We got Ohio State, former Ohio State basketball player and a close friend of mine. Part of the reason that the Seat 14 brand was built before the podcast even started with the walk-on frat in Joey Lane. Shout out to him with he's got the Drive the Lane podcast, also on the Field of 68. So go over there and check them out. We're going to do a little bit of a collab episode today, but follow it up next week after the Ohio State game from Vegas on Saturday. So we're excited to have him. And then a former teammate of mine, one of my best friends in the world, Alex Poythress, is going to join the show.
Alexander the Great.
Alexander the Great. Love that guy. Check in with him, see what he's got going on in Russia. I believe they're in Italy tonight. I think he had a game earlier tonight in Italy. It's a few hours later there. So
he came on here at 1 a.m. just to talk to us.
Yeah, we're gonna check back in with him and see what he's got going. Just came off of a 16-point night, so he's still doing his thing. So what do we sit at now? 8-1, or I'm sorry, 7-2. 7-2. 7-2. So yeah, we got some things we need to get into before some improvements we need to make before Saturday. But some things are bigger than basketball. We ask that you keep Kentucky in your thoughts and prayers after the devastating tornadoes and thunderstorms throughout the state. Mayfield, Bowling Green, places like that have been absolutely ravaged by these storms. There's a lot of families displaced. People have lost loved ones. Homes and businesses destroyed. But the response around the sports world, the community, what Chris Holtman from the basketball team has done to help, contribute to raising funds and awareness for what we're dealing with is absolutely incredible. So shout out to them in Ohio State leading into this game this weekend. Again, bigger than sports. And then we're also facing Iowa, the Iowa Hawkeyes in the Citrus Bowl on New Year's Eve, I think. So that game's coming up. Our football team and their football team are preparing to face off to close out their season, and they have also reached out and done their part in their fan base to rise up and do what they can to support Kentuckians in the Bluegrass State and help us get through this tragedy. So we ask that you keep those families affected in your prayers, and if there's we'll put a link in the bio to donate if there's anything that you're willing and able to do to cause some relief. I'm gonna try to contribute some as well. So we'll make sure that government link is in the bio to the show for this week. Again, just we ask that you take a moment to think about those that are struggling with things like that this holiday season. It's never a good time for that to happen, but especially this time of year, it's especially tough to swallow. There was, kids as young as 3 months old that lost their lives, and people as old as 87 years old, I think it was. So it's kind of affected everybody, and it's pretty heavy on our hearts today.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to reiterate, it's bigger than basketball. It's bigger than politics. At the end of the day, we're people. We're supposed to help each other out. It's truly been heartwarming to see, even if you can't donate financially, just helping to spread awareness, helping. I don't know if you've been paying attention on social media, but there's been like 15 different food trucks that have just set up in downtown Mayfield. Mm-hmm. It's just stuff like that, man. It's just beautiful. You know what I mean? And it really helps to restore your faith in humanity.
Absolutely. Obviously, you never want to see any community deal with any type of tragedy like this. But the warm, heartfelt responses that people have given, and gone out of their way to be outspoken about doing their part to help. Even if I know a couple friends that have businesses here that have box trucks that have donated their time and resources to drive supplies. Even if they weren't able to provide supplies, they're chauffeuring supplies down to the affected areas to try to do their part. So it's been great to watch the community come together and watch the world back us. I even talked to Drew Franklin and those guys from KSR, Matt Jones, and those fellas who are driving across country to the game in Vegas. They're stopped in South Dakota and places, and they got people coming up to them, handing them cash, saying, make sure this gets to the right people and into the right hands, which I know that they'll do. So it's really cool, like you said, to watch your faith in humanity be restored in times of struggle like this. So again, say a prayer for everybody. We're going to hear from our sponsor at Bet Rivers, and we'll be right back. Let me take a second to tell you guys a little bit about our partners over at Bet Rivers Sportsbook. If you haven't signed up with Bet Rivers yet, now's the time, because they are offering a $250 match bonus for your first deposit. What sets them apart, though, is that they require just one playthrough to turn your bonus into cash money. With their new Rush Pay instant approval, withdrawing your winnings is safer, more secure, and more reliable. With basketball season tipping off, get in on the action by going to betrivers.com today or by downloading the Bet Rivers iOS app. Must be 21 years or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-GAMBLER. Welcome back to Seat 14, Episode 6. Joining us now, Ohio State grad, Towel Gang man himself, Joey Lane. Joey, welcome, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. Excited for this.
Absolutely. So, Joey's had his podcast, Drive the Lane, for, I guess, 2 seasons now? Are we on
season? Year 3.
This is season 3, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So going incredibly well. Joey's the man up there in Columbus. Spent a good amount of time. He had a solid few years up there in the Buckeye State. I've met Joey. So Joey, we'll get into this, later after we let Joey go. But Joey was one of the original founders of what kind of became, what grew into what gave me the platform to do the Seat 14 thing with the walk-on frat. So he's been a vital part, and even though he's younger than me, a great mentor for me, and stepping into this realm. He's done a fantastic job of leading by example and everything through his channels, and got a lot of love for this kid. So I appreciate you taking the time to join us. Obviously we got some topics we want to get into with the big game coming up this weekend out in Vegas, but I'm going to let Jordan kick it off real quick. I think he's got a couple questions for you.
Yeah, well, I've got one, Joey. So as an Ohio State representative, we'll call it, you guys secured your point guard position kind of out of nowhere with Jamari Wheeler, correct?
Yep.
We've got basically the same thing going on. Actually, ours is named Wheeler too, with Savir Wheeler. And I just wanted to know from your perspective, how valuable was it to finally lock down that point position? Because it feels like here at Kentucky this season, we've kind of struggled to, in big games, find reliable production from the one.
Yeah, I'll say that Coach Holtman, the only knock on him since he got to Ohio State, which is this is his 5th year, has kind of been that point guard position. We had great guys. I mean, when I was there, we had C.J. Jackson and Jay Sean Tate, who's now in the NBA, and even Andrew Dockich gave great minutes, as guys like C.J. Walker when he was gone, and Dwayne Washington, who's now with the Pacers. And he's always had guys, but never like a point guard, a guy like that you think of as a stereotypical point guard. And this year kind of is the first year that he has that, besides C.J. Walker last year a little bit. Obviously not a guy he recruited necessarily, a transfer 5th-year guy from really one of our biggest rivals in Penn State, but he's been as steady as they come in terms of what you're getting out of him, especially on the defensive end every night, and then anything really he gives you on offense is just gravy to what he brings. What Ohio State will be is always a team that will go as far as their guards will take them, just because our front line is great and we've got one of the players of the year starting at power forward for us, and the guard position needs to be a little bit more solidified. It's not Jamari Wheeler's fault. We know what he brings to the table every night, and he's just been a stud so far for us.
Right.
Anything following up with that?
Well,
I can see your wheels turning. I want you to feed on it. Go ahead.
It's just the fact that, I don't know, you said Ohio State goes as far as the guards go. Every year, excluding 2012, John Calipari's best teams have been led by guards. It kind of baffles me that we still stray away from the 4-guard small ball lineups that have taken over basketball today. And I don't know, just from your point of view, like what's stopping a team like Kentucky with really talented guards from spacing the floor and straying away from two bigs who, we all know if you have two bigs on the floor, you're going to struggle to space the corners.
Yeah, I mean, if I was coaching a team, I wouldn't have two big guys. I probably wouldn't even have one big guy, honestly. I mean, I'd have a guy like E.J. Liddell or Kyle Young who plays bigger than they are, yes, can guard big guys, but they can stretch it and shoot threes with the best of them. I mean, obviously what's stopping you guys is your coach. I mean, it's not – I mean, that's the answer, right? I mean, obviously the way he's done it has worked. You could say the same thing about North Carolina. They always play two bigs, and it works for them. Gonzaga's done that as well. Works for them. It's just a matter of playing with who you got. I mean, Coach Holman, it's always been his way since at Butler even. Like, he just plays with – he likes versatility. That's the name of the game. That's what he recruits for. That's what he, not only recruits, but also when he's, developing these guys, he's developing them into the most versatile players that he can. Everyone at Ohio State, I'll let you guys in a little secret. Every Ohio State fan wants us to have a true center. And as great as that is, and Zedke is everything that a true center is, except for being 3 inches shorter than you'd like him to be. Yeah. That's everyone wants us to have that 7-foot guy with a 7'5" wingspan who blocks shots and dunks everything like Kentucky always has, but that's just not the style that Coach Holman is accustomed to playing to. And he's had a ton of success playing in this way. So why would he stop now? So kind of just to flip the script, I just think it's the coach's philosophy, and to Cal's credit, I mean, he wins that way. So why would he stop doing it? As much as maybe you'd like to change, I would imagine that if 4 of his 5 best players were guards, then they'd be in at the end of games. So it's just a matter of time before, I follow some Kentucky fans on Twitter besides Todd, and I know that they rant all the time about the lineups. So I know that exists. But at the end of the day, it's what the coach thinks it's going to take to win. The guy is at Kentucky for a reason, so it's hard to argue with him. But hey, if I was coaching, I'd have 4 guards out there.
Yeah, that's what I always say. Everybody wants to play armchair quarterback, and I'm like, well, the guy's a Hall of Famer. He's doing something right. But to piggyback your point, we lost a game in South Bend last weekend, Notre Dame, which in my opinion was a much lesser team, much lesser talented, clearly. But as you know, Mike Brake coaches a very executive or executing type of gameplay, and they did a fantastic job of doing that against us. But since you mentioned coach's discretion on a couple things, I'm curious, did you see the end of the game for us? Did you see how we lost?
I did not.
Okay, so
to be honest, I think I saw literally the last play, and that's it.
Okay, so that's exactly what I'm going to point to is the last play. So there was a timeout going into a free throw situation where Notre Dame was shooting from the foul line, and Cal's philosophy coming out of a made basket like that, even with a timeout, was to not call the timeout and let us, get going downhill. His philosophy is to not let the defense, put something into place and get position.
I think there was 13 seseconds left.
Yeah, so off the free throw, made basket, we inbound the ball and push it down and kind of run it down their throat. So I'm curious, do you know what Holtman's status is on, or his stance is on that? How did Thad Matta do it when you were there? What is your belief in that system? Because we've gotten a lot of flack for it, but we've also won games that way. My answer before you even say it is, I think it comes down to the maturity level of your players. We got a guy, Ty Washington, that had the ball in his hands. It's a freshman. unbelievably talented, can score at all three levels, phenomenal player, going to end up being a great pro. However, had never been in that position before. So he kind of gets the ball. His mind might be going a little faster than his feet are. And we end up not getting a good look at a shot or a good basket for a chance to take the lead and to win that ball game. So I'm just curious what your thoughts are on that. Does it have a lot to do with the immaturity or the young guys on the floor?
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I know that Coach Holtman, Coach Mata operated the exact same way, where luckily those two guys always had, whether it was a point guard or a guard in general who's going to have the ball in their hand, a guy who they trusted, who knew the system, knew what a good shot, what a bad shot was, knew what play to run down the court, whatever it might be. So they always had that option in their pocket. But at the end of the day, it totally, in my opinion, comes down to the maturity level of the team, whether that.
All right, we had some technical difficulties. We got Joey back. Welcome back to Seat 14. So where we got cut off there was, young players, and if they're
don't call timeout. There you go. At the end, just play.
Yeah, I agree with that philosophy. And I was sitting in a bar across the street from Rep Arena watching as that played out in South Bend, and everybody's complaining about it. And I'm like, guys, we wouldn't be complaining if he just scored the ball, and 50% of the time he's going to. But anyway, so leading into the game this weekend, Jordan and I were talking about what we wanted to talk to you about. And, we could sit here and go back and forth with analytics and X's and O all day. But the biggest concern for our team as a whole right now is, if we're not going to go with that 4-guard wide spread, or even if we are, our point guard is not much of a threat to score the ball from the perimeter. And neither is your guy named Wheeler either. So we were kind of talking off air about how we think that these coaching staffs might be preparing for the best way to defend each other. We both have some animals in the paint. I mean, EJ and Oscar is going to be a hell of a time to watch. I mean, they're both averaging, Oscar's got I don't even know what he's averaging now, 12 rebounds a game or something. EJ's at 7. Both big men are the leading scorers for both teams. So I'm just kind of curious, how do you think that both coaches should be approaching this, knowing that we're not shooting the ball exceptionally well?
Yeah, I think that from Ohio State's perspective, we pretty much stick to our principles game in and game out. You look to the old staff, Coach Mata had a guy like Aaron. You didn't have to worry about ball screen coverages because that guy never got screened. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with Jamari Wheeler in a sense as well. I think that Ty Washington's going to be the focus, in terms of who we're going to stop, because as great as the big O is down low, he's not a guy that you run plays for necessarily, mm-hmm. right? I mean, so I think that Ty Washington will be the focus. I think that the main objective for the Ohio State team in general, game in and game out, in terms of their game plan, is rebound the ball, which is especially huge in this game, and don't turn it over, also especially huge in this game. Mm-hmm. So that's first and foremost for Ohio State. In terms of Kentucky, if I'm sitting there looking at Ohio State's team, it's no secret that E.J. Liddell is one of the best players in the country. Mm-hmm. He does a little bit of everything. He's awesome on defense, scoring 20 points a game, getting steals, getting blocks, rebounding the ball, passing the ball. He's playing great. And the other guys on the team are great role players, but also it's definitely falls into the category of let the other guys beat you. Mm. We destroyed Wisconsin, and of course, E.J. Liddell at 28 points was the best player in the game. Mm-hmm. I think it's pretty simple. You have to double team him. You got to double team Zed Key as well, because he's not the greatest passer out of the post. That's where our offense starts. It's throwing the ball inside to those two guys. EJ's a little bit harder to double just because he catches it a little bit more in space and then the long post. But at the end of the day, you got to make the other guys beat you. You got to hope and pray that Justin Ahrens isn't making threes. You got to hope and pray that Malachi Branham, Jamari Wheeler, when he's got time and space, those guys aren't making threes as well. And then, you just got that's just the name of the game, is you got to stop E.J. Liddell, because if he has 30, we're going to win. Yeah. If he doesn't, then it's a crapshoot. So I think for Ohio State, the game plan is simple: take care of the ball, rebound. For Kentucky, it's stop E.J. Liddell and make the other guys beat you.
I actually do think this is going to be a tough matchup for the Wildcats this weekend, especially coming off of the performance that we gave last week. And the ESPN's Power Index gives us a 60% chance of winning this game.
Seems a bit high.
What's your prediction, Joey?
Yeah, I think that when I look at a team like Kentucky, I think that obviously they're young, but they also when you got Sheway, they're just bullied people, and that's how you've won some games. Is the dude has 20 and 20. Mm-hmm. That's not going to happen against Ohio State.
Correct.
They're going to be the best front court they've played all year. They're going to play the best player they've played all year as well. I think that obviously I'm a bit of a homer and I'm biased. I think that it's not the best team Ohio State's played yet, obviously, right? We played Duke.
Yep.
We're riding high. There's a ton of momentum. It's like two teams, not necessarily going in the opposite directions, but two teams coming off of two completely different games.
100%.
Right? We just beat a really good Wisconsin team by 20, and you guys just lost to a not so good Notre Dame team. So as long as Ohio State's ego doesn't get in the way, I think it's their game to lose. Do I think that it means there's no doubt about it, Ohio State's going to win, or they should win? I don't know. But obviously, sitting in this chair, being an Ohio State fan, feeling the way I do about this team right now, it's hard for me to say they're going to lose the game against Kentucky.
You know, I actually expected a little bit more bias than he's giving me. I appreciate that answer.
Kept it tame.
I do. You did. But he's right. And I appreciate you for stomping Wisconsin, by the way. Shout out to Ohio State for that. Hate those guys. So a 20-point big.
You
big
still
win.
care so much about that.
I hate them.
I don't blame you.
Hate them. Big. They're a great team, though. I mean, Ohio State beating that team by 20 is remarkable.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. I mean, and you know, Duke's obviously, you know, going to end up being there at the end of this too. So, you know, I think Ohio State's a much better team than they've even gotten credit for so far. So, I look forward to this one. This is going to be a blast. And Joey hit the nail on the head. I mean, this is going to be. It's going to be a war in the paint. We're gonna. It's going to be fun. It's going to be. We haven't seen the type of game plan, the type of approach that we're going to have in order to be competitive in this matchup.
Yeah, my biggest concern is who's going to back up Oscar guarding Liddell.
That's what I was
Liddell
going to
would destroy anybody not named Oscar Tshiebwe in the post.
Let me counter that. I think he can't guard EJ. There's no way he guards EJ.
Yeah. So you know, the biggest question mark for us as a team with Oscar. Is, you know, if he gets into foul trouble, if he's exhausted, if God forbid an injury, you know, we don't necessarily have somebody that could step in and play within the offense, at least the scope that we're playing now. We just don't have it. We don't have that guy. Like we have, you know, I played with a guy named Marcus Lee, who I think you've met before, but phenomenal athlete, long, lanky, just, you know, plays 13 feet in the air. Doesn't play like Oscar. If Oscar goes out of this game for any reason, you know, foul trouble, whatever it is, somebody's going to have a rude awakening. We need to be able, you know, the one thing that having this kind of dynamic difference in the roster that Kentucky can use as an advantage is that in most cases, we have a guy like Oscar, we got a guy, you know, like Damian Collins or Lance Ware, those guys that are long and athletic. It causes the opposing team to have to spend some time, you know, practicing how they're going to defend a little bit different type of offensive scheme that we might run against them. So even if we don't actually utilize those guys in the game, or even if they're not, you know, playing as many minutes as you might have prepared for, you still had to spend practice time preparing for that. In this case, it's a problem for us against Ohio State. If Oscar can't play, like he said, we're going to get absolutely abused in the paint.
Yeah, Oscar's the only player with a chance of guarding EJ.
Yeah, and like he said,
I just think you guys are underestimating the fact, like, Oscar's got to guard Zed Key. Zed Key scored 20 points against Duke.
That's my concern here. We don't have anyone else to throw out there. So our whole offensive, you know, in our brains, we're thinking, let's go four out. We can't because there's nobody that can be out there to go four out can guard the other guy. So
we haven't played a front court like Ohio State's all year.
You hit the nail on the head, and that's kind of what I was looking for when I asked you. I think this is our biggest issue as far as a defensive matchup problem. We don't have an answer for it. And, you know, if we were coming off of a little bit better of a performance, I would say maybe we can put some points on the board and, you know, pros outweigh the cons a little bit. But the way we're shooting the ball, we can't have a problem from the perimeter and a problem in the paint, or obviously, you know, those don't add up to wins. So I know you got to get out of here. Joey's got to go record his own Drive the Lane podcast. Shout out to the Field of 68. Both of us from the same network. We're going to have a lot of fun this year. It's a shame we couldn't get out to Vegas, but obviously Christmas time, got to be with our families. We'll make it work. Maybe in the postseason we'll link up. But I appreciate you taking the time to come on, man. Tell your boy what's up, and good luck, and we'll talk on Saturday. All right, brother?
Sounds great. Happy holidays, guys. Thanks for having me on. This was a blast. Let's do it for longer next time.
Absolutely, brother.
Thanks, Joey.
Have a good one. This is Joey Lane.
Guys.
Yes, sir. Joey Lane, Drive the Lane podcast from the Field of 68. You're listening to Seat 14, and we'll be right back.
Let's stop and take a moment to tell you about our friends at Dwell. Their mission is to provide their customers with the highest quality CBD and CBD-infused products available while serving the community with a commitment and dedication to wellness for everyone. Dwell CBD is proud to present their newest Signature Series topical with UK legend Tyler Eulis. At Dwell CBD, they take skincare very seriously, and their partnership with Tyler is an exciting way to share the potential benefits of CBD and other natural ingredients that are shown to promote healthy skin and reduced inflammation. This lavender-scented topical cream contains 500 milligrams of THC-free CBD and was designed for athletes just like Tyler. Get yours now by visiting dwellcbd.com and clicking on the sports tab. That's DWELLCBD.com. Proceeds benefit the Tyler Eulis Foundation.
Welcome back to Seat 14. Joining us now, Alex Poythress, one of my best friends who I don't get to see that often because he's over in Germany. Still limited up. You said right before we brought him on, he's still putting it on people's heads. You went through the.
Yeah, bro.
He was admiring your most recent highlight reel.
You put those two dudes in a body bag. I don't know what team they was on, but I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Off vert too. 2 steps and I'm up. Light work.
Hey,
always dunk though.
Always had that quick twitch. We had Hoodie on a couple weeks ago, and of course, you know, he had to get to the story where he got his concussion on Derek Willis's head in practice. Always got to bring that one up. So I just told Alex right before we started recording. You just got done with the game. He said it's 1 a.m. over there in Germany right now, but you had 19 tonight.
Yeah, 16.
16. Sorry, 16. Still running the show, man. I'm telling you, dude's a freak. But I appreciate you taking the time to join us, man. I know you got to get some sleep. We'll be pretty quick, and I know you haven't got to see a ton of the Cats this year being over there. You got your own season going on. But we had a pretty rough loss this past weekend.
And it was Notre Dame, wasn't it?
Yeah, and we lost there in third or fourth game of the year in the 2012-2013 season. South Bend's a tough place to play, and they were Mike Bray's a hell of a coach. They were pretty well prepared. It's a tough matchup for Kentucky because they play such a slow and executed type of offense. But what the game came down to, and we had a discussion with a Ohio State player actually right before we brought you on, Joey Lane. But Cal's philosophy, he gets a lot of flack for it when it doesn't work, but is to not call a timeout. After a made basket or something in the closing seconds. Even if we have the timeout, he doesn't close it because he wants to rely on players making plays. We lost a couple games that way, but we won a few that way. Because you're relying on freshmen. Who haven't necessarily been in that position, but we're banking on the fact that they're not going to get time to set up a defense and get a stop.
How many of the national championship runs or game winners were off of like no timeout? Just came up the court and Aaron drained.
I think all the ones with Aaron were.
Yeah, all yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think so.
Yeah,
Cal. It's just a coaching philosophy. I agree with it.
I agree with it too.
You don't want to call a timeout, let the defense set up. You know what I mean? They might start switching. They might go to a zone. It's different. So you like to just catch them off guard. And
what are guys overseas doing, Alex?
You said what?
What are coaches overseas doing in regards to
coaches
that?
overseas they'll call a timeout because they like to control the game more. But I like Kyle's approach, like put the ball in your players' hands. Let them make plays. I mean, of course, they're young, they're freshmen. They might make mistakes now, but you rather make it rather than make it now in December than March.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
100%. And our job here with the radio or the podcast or whatever the case is, if we're analyzing basketball, is to be controversial. Like we want to give opposing opinions, play devil's advocate. But I totally agree with Cal's approach. It's just you're relying on freshmen, and sometimes, like he said, they have to make those mistakes. He won't do that again. Like we said, if Ty had gotten to the basket and finished strong, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Nobody'd be questioning his philosophy, but everybody wants to play armchair quarterback because it doesn't work one time. You're playing it on the road in a tough environment. You got the ball in your best player's hands. He wasn't shooting the ball particularly well, but chances are if we'd have punched the ball into Oscar, which is, what everybody's saying and what I thought, in the moment, they'd have double teamed him, triple teamed him, and those refs are going to swallow their whistle in that position. They're not going to bail him out and get him on the foul line.
I actually think I watched the end of the fourth quarter with that game. Didn't Oscar miss like a He missed like a drop step.
He did. He missed a little jump. Yeah. He missed a little over the right shoulder jump hook. But that shows me how long you've been in pro basketball. You just said the fourth quarter, and we play halves over here, Alex, in college still.
Yeah.
My bad. I was just kidding.
But I think AP nailed it with like you'd rather make that mistake now against a mediocre Notre Dame team and allow your guys to figure it out, later down the road when it actually really matters. Then Ty's going to have that experience. He's going to know what to do in that situation.
and against a coach like Mike Bray, I guarantee you he told them in that timeout prior to the free throws, he told them that Cal wasn't going to take a timeout. They knew because he knows how Cal coaches. So they knew when they came off that made free throw, they were like, all right, they're not going to call a timeout. Get back, let them over penetrate, and like Alex said, the philosophy is let basketball players make plays. Mike Bray believes in his team too, and he knew that if it came down to one stop, knowing what we're going to do, play defense with your hands up, don't foul, don't give the refs an excuse to put us on the free throw line, and you live with the consequences, and that's what they went by, and it worked. And Notre Dame and Mike Bray gave us what I think was one of the best games I've ever been a part of in 2015. They almost got us in that Elite Eight game. They almost
sneak appearance from Rira.
They almost got us in that Elite Eight game. You remember that? Pat Connaughton and
Notre Dame was usually a good team. Like that was a war.
Oh my!
You had to make a couple plays at the end.
I think Willie sealed it with a block like that. I can't remember if it was Pat Connaughton or who it was that pulled up on the baseline, but I think Willie.
I think it may have been Willie. I think Andrew was over there somewhere. Aaron had to hit a big shot.
Yeah. Again, yeah, it felt a lot like, knock on wood, it felt a lot like that Indiana shot with, what's that kid's name that beat? That hit that shot against the 2012 team against Darius Miller and those guys. It looked, it was eerily similar to that. I was having like really bad vibes going into that last play, but our defense stepped up and made that stop. But again, I guarantee you that the Notre Dame fan base was saying, why didn't we get into a timeout? Well, you're playing against one of the best defenses in the country, and if we'd have had a chance to go into a timeout ourselves and get set defensively, you're looking at an entirely different outcome. So, I guess the same outcome, but we would have been smothering them. Is my point. They got a good look. So yeah, you live and you learn. But again, December, and we're going to continue to grow.
What's up?
You're kind of interrupting. Is there? Huh? Huh? Yeah.
You coming to say hi, Maria?
Maria wants to say hi.
Hey.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good to see you. Okay, bye. Good job.
Thanks for that.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
You could have walked in with like a liquid IV or something and given me a plug.
We could have at least gotten some shout out merch.
Oh, here we go. There you go.
Wow.
Come, you're not in the camera. Fueling life's adventures. Okay. All right.
That's what keeps Alex
go
up
have
at
fun
1 a.m. after a game on a podcast with us two losers.
Yeah. So I haven't really prefaced this with you. I've learned very quickly in my 6 episodes of doing this to like give a game plan, because we're not going to stick to it. I want this to feel like, we're like, sitting in the basement in the man cave watching a ball game, having a bourbon, talking. So we don't really come in with laid out questions anymore like we started with. It doesn't feel genuine. And the whole point of this, and the reason they asked me to do it, was to kind of get a behind the scenes look, because as you know, I was a fan of college basketball, and then just got a unique opportunity to live it out and become teammates and friends with you guys. And from a typical fan's perspective, they want to see how we think and how we react to things as well. So, I'm getting questions sitting there, watching the game, the way it played out, the same questions that you and I are talking about. They're like, well, why didn't Cal do this? And I'm like, well, he's a Hall of Famer, and you're sitting here drinking a $2 beer talking about it. So there's a vast difference here. But again, I appreciate his, like, he will win his way and tell you how he's going to beat you. And, he gets a lot of flack for it when we lose, but he's a winner. He's proven, he's a Hall of Fame coach. He's proven he can win, and guys want to play for him. So I'll take it. Yeah. You got an alert going off over there. You going to be all right?
Let's see what happened. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. More COVID news.
All right, what do you got for Alex? I know you got a couple questions for him.
Well, real quick, Alex, shout out Clarksville, Tennessee, bro. I know you're from around the area.
Sure, Clarksville.
Yeah, my family, my extended family lives down there now. So shouts out Clarksville. Not really much to say about it other than it's definitely a city.
Nah, it's home though. I love it.
For sure.
Especially, I mean, I'll be in Nashville for the most part in the off season, but I still go home to Clarksville all the time. So
exactly.
Yeah, we gotta get you on that spot when you're coming back to look for a place in Nashville again.
I need that.
Yeah.
I've been looking at Zillow, Redfin every single day.
Well, let me know. I'll get you back in contact with him. We'll get it worked out. But so this weekend we got Ohio State in Vegas.
Okay.
I want to know, I have my perspective. I want to hear your perspective. So, we started out the college basketball season every year, the last, 10 years with the Champions Classic. So, it's a sloppy game that early in the season, right? This year we had Duke. Didn't look particularly well. Duke didn't look particularly well, even though they're one of the best teams in the country now. But it's one of those neutral site games that everybody kind of overhypes, right? I think going into this game, right, Ohio State is ranked, but they also aren't getting quite as much love as they probably should for how good they are. We're talking about a game in Vegas that everybody wants to hype up. I actually think, and we talked about this with Joey, that this is the toughest matchup we've had. Not the best team. Duke's the best team we've played, but I think this is the toughest matchup we had. E.J. Liddell is an absolute monster in the paint. I don't know if you've gotten a chance to see him. He's one of the best players in the country right now. He's leading Ohio State in points and rebounding. Oscar is leading Kentucky in points and rebounding. So that matchup, even if they might not be guarding each other every possession, which they probably are going to have to because Oscar might be the only one that can guard him. But Jordan made the comment off the air, we need an Alex Poythress on this team.
Desperately.
Because this Oscar, even if he's able to stay out of foul trouble, play defense, high hands and all that, go after the ball with two hands, all the shit, that we're preached to day in and day out. Even if he's able to do that, they have another big that we're going to have to put a guy like Lance Ware or Damian Collins or Jacob Toppin or somebody on, and it's going to become a bully ball game. The advantage that we had when Alex and I were both at Kentucky is we could throw several different bodies. I mean, we had, if we had Carl or Dakari or Alex, those guys can bruise and throw their body around and athletic. But then we had, Willie and Marcus Lee and all those guys that are playing, long, lanky, deflecting shots, making covering the passing lanes, all that stuff. So teams had to spend, and I made this comment with Joey, but teams had to spend time in practice leading into the game against us, defending, learning how they were going to go against us offensively because they had to prepare for two entirely different, defensive schemes. Like they had to account for both types of players. In this particular case, they can pretty much pick their poison about how they're going to attack us. That's what scares me. So I'm not really sure what question I was going to with Alex with that.
Well,
but
if we had an Alex, there's no way they can pick their poison
exactly
because he can guard 1 through 5. We don't have that guy.
We don't have that guy. So, go ahead.
I mean, you need versatile defenders on the team. I've watched a couple games. I think Oscar's great. He's a protector, paint bruiser. He gets all the rebounds. You probably might have to I think the closest person that can do the 1 through 5 is maybe Keon, but I'm not sure how big he is or how much he can guard fives. But you need versatile defenders, and that's why Cal gets those super athletic dudes to fly around. And I don't think he plays a lot, but the Damian Collins, he's super athletic. He could do it, I think, but he's young. You know what I mean? These are freshmen we're talking about. So
they still got to find their legs. Yeah,
they still got to find the legs. They still got to get used to college basketball. I think when we were at Kentucky, when me and Todd were there, we played freshmen a lot. I think people got used to and spoiled that freshmen coming in and just figuring out things early. But now, we're getting true freshmen where it takes them a while. You know what I mean? Because they're 19, 18 years old trying to figure out college basketball. It's different than high school.
Yeah, it's and I make that comment all the time, almost to a fault. But I mean, until Ty, for instance, came into that Duke game at the Champions Classic, his last game was the McDonald's All-American game. Are you kidding me? you didn't even have to sit. Did you ever sit in a full, like, first off, there wasn't a shot clock, but did you ever sit in a defensive stance for 30 seconds until the Champions Classic your freshman year? Never, right? No. You don't have to. In fact, I would be willing to bet that there was half the possessions that you were guarding man-to-man and your guy catches the ball that you would let him beat you just so you could pin it off the glass.
Yeah, I know. Right? High school is a lot different than college. And people don't understand that. And it's tough. It's faster. People are stronger, bigger. The coaching is different. You know what I mean? You can days, all types of stuff. The whole thing is just different and harder. And a lot of people don't understand that until they get into college.
And you can even be the biggest and strongest 18-year-old coming out of high school, and that's nothing against a 21, 22-year-old man that's been in college for 3 or 4 years. And
nothing.
It's a different type of strength. It's a different type of endurance. Like, they've been there before. And so people watch, freshmen that early and they get all, upset or up in arms about, oh, they're not doing this and that. They're still getting a feel for the game. It's going to take a while. I mean, we live on a much faster turnaround here in Lexington than what most athletes need. I mean, like, I get so sick, especially, being there, having gone through it and getting to know these guys, at people looking at freshmen if they don't decide to come out. Like, Alex, Willie, those guys made their best decision for them to come back, get bigger, get stronger, get faster, get more acclimated to the way they wanted to play, nurture their game, and grow. Mm-hmm. And you got people jumping down Ty's throat 4 games into his freshman season because he's not averaging a double-double. I mean, and he almost is still. Yeah. They're just like, oh, that's not good enough. People have gotten so spoiled because of the way we play here. It's frustrating. But, I really do, I'm kind of getting back on topic here. I really do think that this Ohio State matchup is going to be the toughest one we've had. And, he's a good coach. Holtman's a good coach. He's going to have them prepared to attack our weak spots. And the biggest issue we've had so far this season is we've shown everybody what those are. We haven't been able to put together a full game, and any young team's going to struggle with that. A little bit different, scenario this year because we have, 4 transfers. We're not supposed to be young, but we're playing that way. Even Keon, who's in his 3rd year, he's still trying to find his game. I mean, we've watched him mature over the last 2 seasons and come into this year, and now he's getting to that, 18-foot pull-up. And once he hits it a couple times, that's what he's looking for. That coaching staff, they know Keon's not going to beat us just by hitting 18-foot shots, right? So they're going to let him get to those spots. I mean, one of Cal's biggest, I'm giving a little bit of the playbook here, but one of Cal's biggest things is make them take tough twos because he knows we're not going to lose a game. They're not going to shoot a high enough percentage from 18 feet to beat us.
I'm going to go make 20 18-footers in the game.
You can't do it. So they're going to let us get those shots. And we might feel like, Keon's confidence is going to build. We're getting points that way. But if we're not winning the battle in the paint and we're not shooting well from beyond the arc, we're going to lose.
Yeah. So Keon could help a lot with the battle in the paint. Alex, I think it'd be interesting to hear from you. Like, you and Keon have similar body types. You were always a little stronger, a little lower to the ground than he is. He's more above the rim. I just want to know what you would say to a guy like him, what advice you'd give him to, like, help him deal with, I think he's fine guarding 1 through 3. How can he get to the point where he can switch on the 4s and 5s from your point of view?
I mean, for me, it's like just being the aggressor, especially when you, I'm a big, when you guard guards, you got to be finesse. You got to beat them to the spot. I mean, when you guard bigs, I feel like it's always the aggressor wins. So especially when people try to back you down the post, rebound, all that stuff, you got to hit them first. For me, I'm a strong guy. I used to always try to hit people first. If I hit them a few times, and eventually they'll start to like, this time I'm not gonna go rebound, or this time I don't want to go in because I want to get hit again. You know what I mean? People, if you do that over a whole game, people kind of sheer away from contact. You know what I mean? I personally, I love contact. I love hitting people, banging off bodies, but a lot of people don't like playing that way no more. So you do that a couple of times, and then they back up, and a lot of it's just heart. You know what I mean? Don't let your man score on you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you get a one-on-one matchup, it's like you versus them. Like, who's going to win? Who's going to come out on top? So I think a lot of people don't take pride on defense as much as they used to, because, it's an offensive game. You know what I mean? Points get you names,
exactly,
all types of stuff. But defense is still a part of the game that is the main focus, but people don't really treat it as such no more.
It's really crazy how little credit you get for constantly Alex is not taking a possession off of putting an elbow on you. Like, I remember, kind of a side note here, my first day of practice, Bo, our equipment guy, my first year, was like, do you want padded compression shorts? And I was like, hell no, I don't want padded compression shorts.
What do I look like?
Yeah, I want regular compression shorts. One practice in, Alex hit me so many times between the knee and my waistline, like on my thighs there, that I was, black and blue. I was like, all right, I want padded compression shorts. But like, I didn't even understand as a 20-year-old how physical the game is. And it's not like, illegal plays, just the constant like wear and tear, the bruising, the lean and the weight, all that stuff. It weighs over the course of a game. And I think that, that's going to be the biggest hurdle for us specifically this weekend, because their two bigs are going to constantly
Where do
be
we
on.
find that? You know what I mean?
In a player?
You need guys to step up. You need, I'm sure it's a TV game, so
Absolutely.
No, it's CBS
and
game.
CBS, one of them, all eyes will be watching. So hopefully you just need somebody to have the coming out party.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember when we played Michigan that one year in the tournament, and
Marcus.
Willie went, and Marcus didn't play much that whole year, came in and had like 20 and 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
So like you need players to step up. And I think somebody will. We got Kentucky always has the talented kids. Like we don't recruit people that don't have the ability to do that. So
yeah,
one of the bigs just have to, Oscar go do what he normally does. You need somebody else to be like a spark. You need somebody else to be like that. Oh, we didn't know he was like this or something like that. And then that's how you fix the problem.
Yeah, there's been a lot of comparison between, and we talked about this when we had Marcus on, but between Marcus Lee and Damian Collins, because because of the long athletic lankiness, they kind of fly under the radar. He's got the ability to break a game wide open. I mean, he's even if Damian's not getting blocking shots, his ability to alter shots with his wingspan, his length, the quick twitch jumps. I mean, the dude's a freak athlete. And I think once he figures that out, it took Marcus the same amount of time. Marcus wasn't ready to play before that Michigan game. Like he could get here and there, but it took that changing in Marcus's brain to where he realized, okay, like I'm capable of doing this way. Before he became effective, before he turned into a pro. And now he's, if he didn't have that moment, that Michigan State game, and it wasn't because it put him on the map, it was because it changed his approach to the game. If he didn't have that, he wouldn't be making money playing basketball right now. It's that moment that for those guys where they realize like, all right, here's how I'm effective. And we've made reference to that a lot of times on this show. And any analyst is going to say it that's had any experience around Cal. Cal's going to look for those 2 or 3 things that any particular player does well. It might not be the thing that they like to do the most, but it's going to be the thing that they do well. And he's going to say, here's what you need to do to help our team win. People always, give him flack for, holding people back. And he likes to joke about that. But Devin Booker wasn't allowed to take more than 2 dribbles when he played for us. No
Carl
joke.
was only allowed to shoot hook shots.
Carl was over the one of the other shoulders.
Now he's the best 3-point shooting center ever.
Yeah. But again, Cal's job is kind of he's herding everybody in and getting them in a lane to where they're most effective to help the team win, because he knows I'm dealing with a bunch of guys who have a lot of talent. I have to teach them how to play winning basketball. So again, all coming back to this weekend, this is going to be the biggest challenge we have, because he's got to get these guys to be like, okay, I can hone in and do what you're asking me for 40 minutes. And if the team does that, we're going to be fine. If they don't, and we got Oscar leaving his feet in the paint, he's going to get in foul trouble, and we don't have anybody to come in, and they're going to absolutely rout us in the paint. Yeah.
Which is why it would give me a lot of peace of mind if we had an Alex Poythress on the bench, a Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, you know what I mean?
I think his eligibility up. Speaking of which, how about this NIL change? A little too late. A little too late.
We had that.
We almost got it. Almost happened before 2015. We might not have had as good of a season if everybody was out there making shed like that. But that would have certainly been fun. Who would your first? Just let's have a little fun real quick. Who would your first endorsement deal in college have been? Personally, what you ate something? I can't remember what it was. Where'd you eat? You ate somewhere every day. Local Taco? Was it Local Taco?
Oh,
Local Taco.
Sure.
I think it was. I was drawing.
Was there every week.
Yeah, he would have had a local taco deal worth 6 figures.
Aaron Canes.
Yeah, Canes is too. That's the difference that I figured out pretty quickly once I stopped playing. I can't eat the way we used to, man. We used to have 12 boneless wings and a full pizza every night at 11 p.m.
Not burning it off in practice.
Hell yeah, we burned it off. Are you still the same body fat you were then?
Yeah. I mean, I think I stepped on the scale the other day. I think I'm like 238. So I've always been the same weight. I never had issues with my weight or body weight.
No, he was always pretty main. But we had to like twist Marcus's arm to try to get him to eat. But some of us didn't have any problem consuming everything they put in front of us.
Yeah. No,
so how's overseas life, man? How's Germany? Is it cold? I know it's freezing right now.
So I'm in Russia, but
I'm sorry, I meant Russia.
Yeah, but it's not bad at all. It's cold for sure. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, it kind of reminds me of college a little bit. You know what I mean? We practice, we go home. We have a little bit more freedom. We go out to dinner, we hang out with our teammates.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm playing in EuroLeague, so I mean, we go to all these great places.
Oh yeah,
we go to Italy, Greece, Germany, France, Israel. So we play in all these great cities. So the travel's good. You know, it's a little different with COVID, a little bit more restrictions and whatnot, but it's fine. Overseas life is not as bad as people make it seem.
No, but I know we're still ready for you to get home. We got some Nashville nights ahead of us. We're gonna have a good time.
Sure.
All right, one more quick question, then I'll let Jordan ask one more too. But I know you got to get to sleep. So how do you like the rule changes for the overseas game? Does it appeal more to the way that you play? Because I
like it. It's cool. It's basketball. Basketball's basketball. At the end of the day, the one thing I kind of struggle with over here is the no defensive 3 seconds. I mean, that's just from a pro thing. The NBA, I think in college there's no defensive 3, is there?
No, there's not.
But in the NBA, there's defensive 3 seconds. So like you stare at somebody, I'm like, you have to get out the paint at some point.
Yeah.
So over here, there's no defensive 3. So teams can load up more. They can zone up more. You know what I mean? It's like the gaps are a lot smaller. And so like, you know, when Lucas said it's harder to score overseas in the NBA, he was 100% right. Like this. The court's not as spaced out as it is in the NBA. So that's what he meant by that. But the game is cool. You can touch the ball on the rim. That's kind of weird.
That's what I was hinting at when I said that.
That is it. I'm still not used to that yet. Like, I still shoot a shot and somebody would knock it off. I'll scream at the ref and then the ref is looking at me like crazy, like, nah, that's legal.
It's got to help you with some of your signature putbacks, right?
No, it definitely. I actually had one today because of that. So if you get the timing right, but it's hard because you know we're so used for the ball to bounce off the rim. A lot of people just go and just jump, and as long as it's close, they just hit it back in.
I struggle with that rule with my putbacks a lot too.
Yeah,
they get me. They blow the whistle on me all the time when I'm up there. Yeah, grabbing
down at everybody else.
Yeah. All right, sorry, we had a little technical difficulties there, dealing with some Wi-Fi issues, but we're back. And Jordan, I know you got one more question for him that you wanted to follow up with. This one's going to sting my heart a little bit, but I'm going to let you ask it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, we've been plagued by technical difficulties today, but I just want to hear from you guys because you were both on that team. What did Alex's injury early in the season mean for tournament time? We didn't miss him too much through the regular season because that team was loaded, but when you get into the nitty-gritty of it, you know, we needed a guy who could come in and shut the opposing team's best player completely down. You know, don't even let him catch the ball. And we didn't have that. Obviously, we all know the results. You remind us of the results probably every episode when you get on your soapbox. So, yeah, just what do you guys remember about that, and how would Alex's presence have helped?
It's tough. I mean, I obviously thought we were going to go 40-0 that year. I mean, when we all decided to come back, me, Willie, the twins, Dakari, you know what I mean? We were talking about, like, we can really go 40-0. We can do this. And then Cal brought out the platoon system, and he kind of got us all to buy in. And we were loaded that year. The depth was crazy. You know, we had 2 5s, went to Bahamas, and we smacked everybody. We were smacking teams.
We were beating pro teams in the Bahamas.
Literally.
We were beating pro teams. We were beating Kansas. We were beating UCLA. Like, we had a couple of scares during the year, but like nothing.
Bro, we would beat
UCLA scored 7 points in the first half.
They hit a free throw with like 4 minutes left in the first half. That was their first point. That game was nuts. All right, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but not. We literally were gonna go 40-0 that year. I mean, you can say some stuff about a Wisconsin game, but it is what it is. We didn't do enough to get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
But man, like I try not to think about it too much now, just because you can't go back and change fast. Injuries happen for a reason. But I mean, we definitely we all were bought in that year. That was the year. If any year was it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was tough. I mean, and I remember not to bring up the negativity of the past, but I remember that practice, and I'm sure Alex.
North Carolina game, I think.
Yeah, and I know that Alex has his own emotional and personal feelings towards it, and like I said, I think you and I share the belief everything happens for a reason. But it was hard to see what that was that day in the Kraft Center when Alex got hurt, because I mean it wasn't even a contact play. It just is a freak thing. And I remember, thinking, I mean, why? It just happens. And it shows you how precious, a season or a career can be. But Alex used it as a launching point for himself, and, handled rehab extremely well and got his body back in better shape than it's ever been in. And opened up the doors for him to make money playing the game he loves. So, it's hard to regret it, but that team we had every piece. Like, there was nothing missing from the original build of that roster. And I alluded to it earlier in the podcast, but other teams had to prepare in every way for what we could throw at them. I mean, they had to spend hours in the practice facility. Like, well, what if they do this? What if they run this? What if they have this lineup in? We literally had 12 McDonald's All-Americans that we could put. Different looks on the floor. Depending on the matchup, we could just throw different things at guys, and we were the better team. Obviously losing Alex kind of put a hole in the boat. And we did have a couple scares. We almost lost to Georgia. I remember that game in particular because it was the last road game of the year before we came home to play Florida on senior day. And I was like, damn it, I'm not going to get to start if we lose this game. And we pulled that one out somehow. That was a tough game. If you go back and watch that game, which I don't know why you'd have any reason to, but at Georgia, it was like we were down like 6 or 7 points with like 4 minutes left and came back and won. It was pretty impressive. But those games showed the resilience that team had, even with Alex sidelined. But, I think it would have obviously, I think it would have changed the outcome of the year.
Because that's your defensive stopper.
Yeah, I mean, Sam Decker would have had some problems. I don't Alex might have gotten thrown out of the game, but he wouldn't have let dude put 25 points on him. I promise you that. He'd have gone in there. We'd have ran elbow or action or something, and you're going in knee first towards the rack. He's only going to get in the way one time. I promise you.
Yeah. I would at least use all my fouls.
Yeah, exactly. That might be the one game in my career that I should have played. If he'd have came down the bench and been like, Todd, get in there and take his head off, I would have almost said that. We probably can't say that one. If he'd have been like, Todd, get in there and take his head off, I'd have been like, all right. I would have lived. They'd have retired my jersey after that. But I would have gladly sacrificed for that one. But all jokes aside, and Sam's a great player, by the way. He's been Kyle Wilcher's teammate overseas. Apparently a phenomenal guy, which sucks because I want to hate him. But he's a great player. Frank Kaminsky's a great player. Bronson Koenig's a great player. They had a great team. They had a great coach. Bo Ryan had them prepared. Go ahead.
Played them the year before in the Final Four. Like, they knew.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that game was good.
Yep.
But, I mean, I think there was like a shot clock violation in that game. I haven't watched that game since we lost.
Really?
Me either. There was a shot clock violation. There was a shot clock violation, and apparently they haven't even changed the rule. I wasn't even sure of this, and somebody brought it up on SportsCenter the other day, but they can't review shot clock violations. And so that's stupid. That rule needs to change. Like, they review delay a game in NFL, in the middle of the game. And this is like under 2 minutes. So we had a shot clock violation in the Final Four. You should definitely be able to review that. There was one play with Marcus where Marcus got saved. He got a block and grabbed the ball and kind of threw it in before he went out of bounds. And they called him out, and he was in by this far. It was right in front of the bench. I don't know if you remember that. That was a bad one. But like Alex said, you can't blame the refs. No matter how bad it was, no matter how many mistakes happened, that's part of the game. It's the same. I mean, you can't go blame the ump for a baseball game. Do what?
Like human error is a part of the game.
Exactly.
I mean, refs like it is what it is. They're not perfect. I mean, they try to be. We get mad, but I mean they're not perfect.
No,
so
it like you said, it's human error is part of the game. Just like in the World Series, you're not going to go overanalyze every ball and strike. Like that's part of it. That's what it is, and it's the way the game's trending is how they call it. Of course, they're going to make mistakes, but I promise they weren't trying to. And they had the best guys for the job. Unbiased from either conference calling the Final Four. So I'm not going to sit here and blame the refs, but it was just a series of unfortunate events that led to that ill-timed loss. But again, we shouldn't have let it come into their hands. We should have. We were a better team. We were better prepared. We had more talent. We just didn't do enough to get the job done. But obviously, having Alex, in there in uniform would have helped. Obviously, so that part sucks. But again, everything happens for a reason. You're getting to play the game you love for a living. It's hard to be upset about something like that. So
yeah, still playing. I'm 7 years in. I have no complaints. You know what I mean? So
That's right. But it does suck that, obviously I forwent my.
You got it, bro.
I think it's forwent. I forwent my entering into the draft as well to come back for that team. So
wow, what a humble move by you. Looking out for the boys first.
That part seriously does suck because I remember having, I remember in the locker room after losing to UConn the year before, which. It sucks to have the wrong color confetti falling on your head too. That wasn't an easy one either. But yeah, that one wasn't easy. And to be fair, we probably didn't deserve to get to that championship game. We outperformed. But once we were there, we were the better team against UConn in 2014. But after that game, I remember Alex and Willie and those guys saying, we're coming back. And I remember thinking, man, I hope they do. Like, I hope we get another chance at this because this team's too special. That core group of guys. I mean, Willie and Alex and I, and even Sam and Brian, we were all there, since their freshman year, and we were like, we deserve to be able to do this together. Like, I hope they come back, and they did. They got together and they made a very adult decision to pass on a lot of money at a young age that's going to be life changing for your families, and with the risk of an injury, possibly sidelining you. And they got together and made a very humbling and team-oriented decision to give it another shot. And that sucks is the world and that locker room was robbed of something that could have been incredibly special to be a part of. But it was nonetheless. We had a blast. I was very thankful and lucky to be a part of it. So thanks for all the memories, brother. Love you.
No problem. No problem.
It was, it was cool going up against him every day. That's probably why. I'll take the blame for that. I was the reason for the injury. I should have better prepared him.
Yeah, been a little more physical.
I do remember though. I'll leave you with this real quick. I remember when Cal asked me to do the preferred walk-on situation. He was like, "We need somebody to guard Alex," and I was like, "How the hell am I supposed to help with that?" And they were like, he was like, "We need you to piss him off." He was like, "I want you to foul. Like, I want you to, stay on him. Like what we're talking about the defenses are going to do." He's like, "I don't care if he's your friend. I just want you to lean on him, push on him, make him work harder." I tried, but man,
might need to find a different man for that job.
He's a monster. John. He's a monster. But you are the reason that I got that chance. So appreciate you.
No problem.
I can't wait to see you again, man. Good luck the rest of the season. Proud of you and what you're doing. It's been a blast to watch you and watch you grow and everything else. And I can't wait to link back up in Nashville. We'll have a good time.
We gotta have dinner or something.
Absolutely. Deal. Anything else?
Nope.
All right. Appreciate you, Alex. Good luck with the rest of the season. And we're going to take one more break, and we will be right back. You're listening to Seat 14.
Thanks, Alex.
All right, no problem.
We want to take a moment to tell you about our friends over at Liquid IV. Liquid IV's Hydration Multiplier is a great tasting daily electrolyte drink mix that utilizes the breakthrough science of cellular transport technology to deliver hydration to the bloodstream faster and more efficiently than water alone. Just add the electrolyte powder to your water and let CTT do the rest. With 3 times the electrolytes of sports drinks, as well as 5 essential vitamins, Liquid IV comes in convenient, travel-friendly, single-serving packets. It is non-GMO with no artificial ingredients and comes in 8 delicious flavors, including lemon lime, pina colada, watermelon, passion fruit, guava, acai berry, apple pie, and my personal favorite, strawberry. So head on over to liquidiv.com. That's liquid-iv.com and plug in code SEAT14 at checkout to enjoy 25% off of your order. Liquid IV, fueling life's adventures. Welcome back to Seat 14. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun.
First doubleheader. Alex, I mean, obviously Joey's the man, but he's the enemy tonight too, or this weekend too. Yeah. So, but Alex, man, I can't wait for him to get back and get back out with him. He's always fun to mix it up with when he's in town. It's just, he's one of my best friends in the world, but I don't get to see him as often because he's gone 10 months out of the year, 9 months out of the year. That's what happens when a lot of your friends are professional hoopers.
Yeah, I know. I must have missed my calling, but appreciate you, Alex. Appreciate you, Joey. Thank you all for the 6th installment of Seat 14. This is getting fun. Yeah. We're starting to get the hang of it, I think. The one thing that we've learned in the first 6 episodes, which I just talked about with Alex, is I think we kind of like coming off the cuff a lot better than we had. Like, we used to have the whiteboard with the schedule laid out. I had the notes on my phone and stuff, and now we're just. And I want to
make it clear that's your doing.
It is my doing.
Super anal.
I'm very OCD, and I thought, I wanted to be like, I want it laid out and timed out. Every episode doesn't have to be the same length. I'm okay with the spitball, and it makes it genuine, and that's what we're after here.
Well, we both have a live background. I've done live news stuff in college. You do live stuff now with the radio show, and in situations like that, you need the rundown that lays out to the second, like where you're going to be at. We ain't got to worry about all that.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about that. Plus, if I screw up, which I don't ever, obviously. You can post edit that, so we're good to go.
I'm gonna start saving all the times you do.
We're gonna have a blooper reel.
Bad.
Let's do a blooper reel.
Yeah, all right.
That'll be good.
Right.
That'll be good. And I need to do a better job of getting the content out on social media. But I have been in the process of moving, so now we're in the new place. Studio's in the basement. It's almost finished, so we'll be down there starting next week. For now, we're just set up in the family room right in front of the Christmas tree because happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Where's my wine?
There's your wine. Maybe you should have one more glass. Anyway, speaking of holidays, shout out to Budweiser.
What's this? I actually have no idea what's in this.
They sent me this care package. I appreciate you, as always. King of Beers, Budweiser King of Beers. Inside, we have... we got a toboggan. We got a sweatshirt.
That will not fit me.
We got coasters, 4 holiday specialty cans, and a mug.
Oh, these are sweet.
Oh yeah, they're sweet. They're specialty cans. Not for sale. And we got a mug. Look at that with the Clydesdales.
That's a dense mug.
That's a big old mug. Big old mug. Shout out to Budweiser. We appreciate your support.
The one and only king of beers.
King of beers, baby. Thank you for all you do. Happy holidays. Jordan, you want to follow up with anything? Oh, wait. Look. Crack open the cheer. Look at that slogan. Somebody at Budweiser needs a raise for the marketing campaign.
Yeah, they're doing it right. Obviously, they're sponsoring this podcast, so they're doing it totally right.
They know exactly what they're doing.
You good, bro? There you go. All right.
Ho, ho, ho.
When's the Ohio State game, Todd? Do your job.
It is Saturday at 5:15.
Okay.
On CBS.
So, let's say we lose this game, this basketball game in Las Vegas.
Okay.
How are we feeling? Not
good. And this is a tough team. Ohio State's a tough team. We've talked about it all night. They're not. This is not a game to look over. We're better. We have more talent. They're well coached. They have one of the best players in the country. They're tough.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to struggle to shoot it from the outside. I think it's going to be a battle of the paint. If Oscar gets in foul trouble, we're in trouble. He needs to play defense without fouling, keep high hands, slide his feet.
This is probably the first time he's going to be tested in the post because
they're going to go right at him because they know that if Oscar gets in foul trouble and then get him on the bench, that we're going to have a lot of trouble defending those two fellas.
Yeah, he's just Front court wise, I guess the best player he played against was Duke's 5, who isn't really a threat to score in any capacity. So we're going to learn, at the very least, we're going to learn a lot about this team. I really hope that we don't even dip even further into the negative non-conference Power 5 record. Do you know what it is? 15 and 18?
It is.
15 and 18 or 17. We may be 15 and 18 if we lose.
I think it's 15 and 17 right now. Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I don't like it, obviously.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
Looking back, I don't feel like we're in that position, but
I know, me either.
Numbers don't lie.
And you see that number and it's just like, whoa, seriously?
Yeah.
We're supposed to be Kentucky basketball.
It's ranked games in the Power 5 out of conference, correct?
I don't know if it's ranked. I think it may just be non-conference Power 5.
Okay.
I think that
makes more sense.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
I don't think we'd be that bad in ranked games, or if we even played that many ranked games.
I don't think we could have played that many ranked games. Is it during Cal's tenure?
It's recently.
It's 2015.
Yeah. After
it must be because I'm not there.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Or Alex. One of the two. Alex was there for a while. Every guest we've had, I think every guest we've had is covered. Not quite, but close.
We haven't had anyone from that. Hood was on the first.
Hood was on the first team, but we haven't had anybody that's been on 17 or later.
Yeah, we got to get into that.
We'll get some more recent guys, and we got some bigger. We got some other guests, some physically bigger guests coming. So it's gonna be an interesting couple of weeks for the Seat 14 podcast. We're really looking forward to what the new year is going to bring. But for now, we're going to enjoy the holidays with our families. We'll have one more before Christmas. We'll have one more. We have one more episode before Christmas. It's going to be a special Christmas episode. I'm going to be in my Budweiser pajamas. I'm pretty excited about it.
Oh God,
I'll let you borrow the sweater.
Dude, that sweater's going to look so terrible on me.
All right. Today's episode of Seat 14 was brought to you.
I got the movie quote today.
I know.
Okay.
You going to let me do this?
Maybe.
Do you want to hold my phone again?
No, you got it, bro.
Today's episode of Seat 14 was brought to you, as always, by Bet Rivers Sportsbook in association with Liquid IV Hydration Multiplier, Dwell CBD, and Budweiser King of Beers. For the Field of 68, thank you for listening. I'm Todd Lanter alongside Jordan Barber, and
it's not about the money. It's about sending a message.
Oh, I know that.
Hurry up. We only got so much time. Say something.
Was it? Who said it? Denzel?
Joker, The Dark Knight.
Oh, you're right. Oh, you're right. All right.
Shame.
Thanks, fellas. Everybody have a good one.